Professor Michael Kremer, thank you so much for joining us. It's a real honor to have you, and I know how busy you are. Thank you very much for being with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Michael Kremer, there's this global inequality in the distribution of vaccines, with the rich countries appropriating most of the vaccines. So far, over 100 poorer countries have not even received a vaccine. What can be done to rectify this inequity?
You know, I think that some of the discourse around this often casts things as a zero-sum game. It's people talk as if there's a fixed supply of vaccines, and it's a question of who's going to get them first. And, you know, I think that type of discourse is actually can be counterproductive politically, because if you're thinking about a democratically elected leader, they're going to be, you know, they may have concerns for international solidarity, but ultimately they're accountable to their population. And so, and I think that when it comes to matters of life or death, and to matters of such huge economic consequences, hundreds of billions of dollars of GDP every month, we have to be realistic about what we can ask politicians to do. And I think it's much better, instead of asking the politicians, look, I think we should ask politicians, I don't want to say instead of, I think we should ask politicians to show international solidarity, but I think it's much easier and much more realistic to say, pledge money to build the factories or to do the trials so that we can get more out of existing capacity, rather than to say there's a fixed number of doses and you have to give up your doses so somebody else can get them. We might see some token efforts, a few percentage of, you know, Norway is admirably doing something, but it's a small percentage of even Norway's doses, and Norway's a small country. I think better to ask the rich countries for money and for finance, to put more capacity in, and to do new trials to get more out of existing vaccines, and to fund, you know, COVAX for the, you know, most vulnerable and for the health workers in low-income countries. But it's probably not realistic to have I mean, it might be moral and ethical, but just as a matter of political realism, probably not going to get fully equal distribution around the world through those by asking them to give up doses. But let me go back to the pipe analogy and the weight analogy. You know, imagine you could think about, imagine it's going to take, with the existing pipe, the existing supply, it's going to take 2 years to vaccinate everyone in the world. Now imagine we could reduce that to 1 year if we put in more capacity. Well, for the people who are last in the queue, you've just reduced the wait by 1 year. For the person who is first in the queue, well, that you're only reducing the wait by, you know, half a day or something like that. Yes. So increasing more capacity is itself something that promotes equity. I think that's something that hasn't been fully appreciated.